Welcome back, everybody. This is Miss Talia, and this is a continuation of our 4.4 notes from today. Okay, let's take a look at part G. We don't have any notation to show congruency, but we do have these two parallel lines. That's what those arrows mean. Okay, two parallel lines and a transversal. Okay, now, which one of these angles are our alternate interior angles? Okay, well, it's going to be the angle between the parallel line and the transversal. Okay, not these, not those. It has to be, the angles have to touch the parallel line and the transversal. Okay, so these are the congruent alternate interior angles. Okay, now is there anything else that matches? So right now we have an angle. Do you guys notice any sides? Well, they share a side. The reflexive property says that the segment NL is congruent to LN. So according to the reflexive property, we have a side, okay? And there seems to be no other information that shows us three pieces of information. So, congruency shortcut is only 2 letters. We need 3. It's not valid, so we do not have enough information to state that we have a congruency statement. So you can either put none or cannot be determined. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Let's read the directions. Segment PS is the angle bisector of QPR. So it bisects that angle. Bisect means to cut in half. So if it cuts it in half, both of these angles are congruent. So we have an angle that's congruent. Anything else? Well, if that's 90 degrees, then that's 90 degrees. So we have another angle because they're linear. And according to the reflexive property, PS is congruent to PS. So we have a side. In what order? Well, let's take out one of the triangles to get a little better visual. Let me draw it a little bit better. The PSQ one. So we have an angle, we have a side, and we have an angle. So as you notice, the side is in between the two angles. It is included. So it's angle, side, angle. That is a valid shortcut. So because it's a valid shortcut, we're going to say that triangle PSR is congruent to triangle PSQ. Next. Alright, so let's see. We have one pair of congruent corresponding sides. We have another pair of congruent corresponding sides. And we have vertical angles. Okay? So, the angle is not included in between the two sides. So, since it's not included, our congruency shortcut is side-side angle. That is not a valid congruency shortcut. It is not enough information to say that these two triangles are congruent, even though they look like they're congruent. So SSA is not valid, so we're going to write none, or cannot be determined. Alright, next one. J. B is the midpoint of AC. Okay, that is going to give us a clue to where the tick marks are going to go. So far, let's take a look at the diagram. We have one pair of corresponding sides that are congruent, so we have a side. B is the midpoint of AC. So since B is in the middle of AC, that means that AB and CB are congruent segments. Okay? So anytime you see midpoint, make sure you guys are showing your tick marks to show congruency. Okay, so that's another side. We either have to find an angle or a side. Well, guess what? These two triangles, they share a side. This is called The reflexive property. Okay, DB is reflexive. So the congruency shortcut is side, side, side. The congruency statement, triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD. All right, let's take a look. Example 2. Consider the information for each pair of triangles below. Provide the necessary information to prove the triangle is congruent according to the given triangle congruence shortcuts. Okay, triangle ABC and triangle DEF are drawn below. Angle A is congruent to angle D, as you guys can see in the diagram. Okay, what additional information is needed to show that triangle ABC is congruent to DEF by the following triangle congruency shortcuts? So let's take a look. In order for these two triangles to be congruent, they want side, side, side. So if they want side, 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 the necessary information we need is the three sides. Which sides do we need? Well, AB, segment AB, is congruent to segment DE. Okay. Our next side would have to be BC is congruent to segment EF. And our last side is segment CA is congruent to segment FD. Okay. Now, although we didn't see tick marks there to begin with, the whole point of these problems is to provide, see that? Provide right up there. Provide the necessary information to prove the triangle is congruent, okay? So it's like, what information do we need to show this kind of SSS congruency? Okay, let's take a look at the next one. All right, necessary information. We need a side, angle, and a side. Well, we've already been provided an angle, so all we need is two more sides. Well, since we know that the angle is in between the two sides, that means that AB and DE have to be congruent. Segment AB is congruent to segment DE, and segment AC is congruent to segment DF. And there you have it. The angle is in between, and it is included in the two sides. All right, so I'm going to erase that so we can look at the next one. Angle, angle, side. We have an angle, we need another angle and a side. That is not included, okay? So we already have an angle, we need another angle, so pick one. Doesn't really matter. Okay, how about angle B and angle E? Okay. So angle B is congruent to angle E. Okay. And now we need a side. Well, since you can pick whatever side you want as long as the side is not in between the two angles, because that's how it's written. The side is not in between the two angles. It's on the side. So, let's do, how about AC and DF? That segment is not in between the two sides. But you know what? Neither is BC and EF. So that's also a valid one. Okay, so let's do this one since we start off with that. Segment AC is congruent to segment DF. Okay, so those are the two pieces of information we need in order to show angle, angle, side. Next congruency shortcut is angle, side, angle. So I'm going to erase everything up here again so you can see. We are already given an angle. We need a side, so pick a side. Here, let's do this one. AC and DF. Segment AC is congruent to segment DF. Okay? And since the side is in between the two angles, the next congruent angle has to be C and F. Okay? Do you see how it's angle, side, angle? So, angle C is congruent to angle F. Alright, so if you are done and you want to try a challenge, feel free to try this one. But I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me tomorrow or send me a remind text. Alright guys, have a good day. Peace out.